It's a case that silences anyone who's seen the interrogation tape. A bright, promising law school graduate gone without a trace. And sitting across from detectives is a man pretending to be heartbroken, pretending to be helpful, while every piece of evidence is closing in around him. This week, we break down the disturbing investigation and the tense police interview that slowly unraveled the facade of a coward. Hi everyone, I'm Jen. Thanks for being with us for another week of Two Crime Newsies.
Hi, I'm Tina. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning, friend. Oh my goodness, let me tell you, this morning coffee is desperately needed. I am moving so slow. It's the weather, I think, outside.
Yes.
It's like gloomy and overcast and chilly, and I'm just moving slow.
Yeah, I agree. I have coffee for you.
You do.
I poured you a cup.
You
No,
did.
you actually poured yourself a cup.
I poured myself a cup, but it's with your machine, so I think that counts.
Sure.
Yes, it is needed. I am on coffee number 3 this morning.
3?
3!
Oh my gosh, it's not even 10 a.m.
I know, but I need that fuel.
Oh my, how many do you have in a day?
On non-podcast recording days, like 2 to 3.
Okay, so you're pretty much at your limit. Are
Yeah.
you having any more this afternoon? Do you need an afternoon coffee usually?
No, not usually. Some days, yes, but normally not.
I'm on coffee. Okay, so before I filled up my cup again, I was about halfway done. So when
Of number 1?
of number 1.
Oh my gosh.
And now I just poured myself the second one with the leftovers of the first. So I think I'm okay. I might need a little afternoon pick-me-up. We'll see.
We'll see.
A little coffee in the afternoon. Obviously, we go through a lot of it.
We do. And thanks to our listeners for fueling our coffee.
Yes, thank you so much. We have a coffee fund. It's called Buy Me a Coffee, and you can find it at buymeacoffee.com/2crimenewsies. If you'd like to contribute to that, you can also find it at 2crimenewsies.com, and there is a link to Buy Me a Coffee right there on the homepage.
Sweet. Tina, seriously, like, I just want to jump into it. What a week it has been. I have been scouring through the true crime documentaries on different streaming apps, and I found this one, and it instantly caught my attention. First thing that catches my attention is the title of the show. This week we're talking about a show called Prime Crime. And the name instantly hooked me because it reminded me of Amazon Prime, which I love.
Oh, okay, so that's what it is. Because I don't think I would have made that connection. Crime, Amazon Prime. And I racked my brain literally for 2 minutes because I had no clue why you found it fascinating that Prime Crime sounded like Amazon Prime.
It has the word Prime.
Okay, it's because you like Amazon Prime.
I do. Okay, so the show we're talking about this week, it's called Prime Crime. And the episode is season 3, episode 14, The Grisly End to the Girl Next Door. And I watched it on Peacock.
Samesies.
And literally, I read the title and I was intrigued. First off, because I think there's always so much intrigue about the girl next door. When you hear about the girl next door, well, I don't know about you, Tina, but me, I instantly think about like a hot chick who lives next door, and then the phrase grisly end makes me be like, what in the world happened to this girl? Was she mauled by a bear? Was she murdered? What happened?
I think the TV show The Girls Next Door
Oh, I love that show.
Yes, I think that influenced your thinking there because I don't think about the Playboy Mansion girls when I think about a girl next door. I think of a sweet, smart girl who minds her manners.
I think they're smart.
Okay, you're right. They go to school.
Yeah, I think they're super smart.
Sure.
I love that show.
I feel like they like to pretend they're not though.
Yeah.
That's the issue. I also think of a girl who has like a type A personality, but in a good way. Like, she does well in school, she's very organized, she does volunteer work, but she doesn't overcommit to things, and she probably reads books or bakes in her free time. And this is how I think our brains work differently.
Our brains are completely different, and I think that's why we're such good friends.
I do find the way your brain works very interesting.
Okay, so are you ready to jump into this episode, my friend?
Let's do.
And before we get into this episode, I just want to say we're going to talk about some things that are very graphic, and so they might be triggering for some folks. And if you're younger, I suggest you tune in next week because some of the things that we're going to talk about today are very disturbing. So the show starts off with surveillance video of what looks like the inside of a hallway, maybe of a bar or some kind of lounge. And there's a blonde-haired girl wearing a black dress that hits above the knee walking down the hallway. Now, playing over the video, we hear someone say, "It's going to be a missing person, Lauren Giddings." Then we hear someone with an authoritative voice who sounds like a police officer, I'm assuming, and he says, "You used to watch her come in and out of the apartment, didn't you?" Then we hear a very, very soft voice say, "No." And the O gets drawn out like, "No." Followed by someone smacking a table and the police officer saying, even more forcefully, "Now you're lying." Tina, what an intro. Let me just say, I heard that and saw that and I was hooked.
I think this is a fascinating documentary. It's hosted by an attorney named Jesse Weber, and he tells us in the beginning of the episode that the Prime Crime series is heavy on interrogation interviews, and I love it.
Same. It's fascinating.
Mm-hmm. This story is pieced together like a giant news package. Mm-hmm. And I say giant because a typical news package is about a minute and a half or so, but this story is 22 minutes. Can you imagine a 22-minute package?
I cannot. And for those of y'all who don't know, a news package is basically when you have a reporter that puts together a segment about a specific story. So they'll usually be on camera and they'll give the introduction, and then it'll turn from them to a story that plays on your screen. And like Tina said, from like a minute to a minute and a half or so.
Mm-hmm. And there's B-roll and voiceover narration, along with sit-down interviews with key people involved in this case. I appreciate that including the video interrogation interviews is kind of like a behind-the-scenes look at how detectives handle an investigation and how they solve these crimes.
It was really cool to see. It's June 2011 in Macon, Georgia. Now, Macon sits in the center of the state and it has a rich history of antebellum, Victorian, and older homes. It looks a lot like the old Victorian Southern-style towns you see in movies and TV shows. And in the spring, the city becomes famous for its cherry blossom trees. And in the heart of the city is Mercer University, which is a private university and is well known for the Mercer University School of Medicine and Law. And that's where 27-year-old Lauren Giddings jumps into the picture. Lauren, who's originally from Maryland, came to Mercer for law school. She had graduated and was living in town while she studied for her bar exam.
Lieutenant Steve Gatlin says Lauren's friends and family called police after they hadn't seen or heard from her in days. And Lauren wasn't the kind of person who would up and leave and just disappear.
Now, Lauren is described as popular. We're told she had lots of friends and was very well liked. And I have to point out, I feel like Tina and I would absolutely get along with Lauren because in almost every picture we see of her, she's got this cute little dog in her arms.
Aww.
There's even a picture of her biking with her dog in a little basket attached to the front of her bike. And from all the pictures we see, Lauren looks like she's got a great head on her shoulders. She seems like a fun person to be around. And she looks like she has so much potential to do great in this world. It's June 30th, and police make entry into her off-campus apartment after family and friends can't get a hold of her. We see video from inside her apartment, and it looks like an ordinary house. The video sweeps over her bedroom, and you see a TV on the nightstand in the corner, next to a pull-out sofa with what looks like bedding over it. There's like a little coffee table with what looks like pictures on it, and truthfully, it looks like an apartment that we all lived in after college or during college.
Sure. Police find Lauren's car is still parked at her apartment. Her keys are inside her apartment, along with her purse, her wallet, her laptop, and her cell phone.
All things that if she left, she would probably take with her.
Right. We hear an interview with police and one of Lauren's friends named Ashley Morehouse. And Ashley talks about the last time she saw Lauren, which was Saturday morning when they were together at a bar. And then they went to Ashley's boyfriend's house that evening where they would stay the night. But Ashley says she didn't see Lauren the next morning.
That's the video I was talking about at the start of the show, Tina. That was video from Saturday night, June 24th, 2011, when Lauren is seen walking through a hallway in what looks to be a bar or a club wearing that black dress.
Ashley then tells police she knew where Lauren kept a key to her apartment outside her door, so she used it to go in and check on her. But she didn't see Lauren inside, and she didn't notice that anything looked odd or off in Lauren's apartment. Everything looked normal, as it had been when Lauren left. And it didn't look like anyone had broken in.
But Lauren was not there. Police bring Lauren's boyfriend to the police station for questioning, but he's ruled out. And police also interview an acquaintance of Lauren, her next-door neighbor, and his name is Stephen McDaniel. Now, McDaniel also attended law school with Lauren. Now, pay attention here. The first time we hear from McDaniel on the show, he sounds normal. He sounds alert. He sounds calm. But I want to make note that he sounds coherent and sounds like he's having an ordinary conversation with someone. What I'm trying to say is that from the sound of his voice, he sounds completely with it and all there. Now, remember this, okay? And on the show, we hear him tell investigators that the last time he saw Lauren was either the last week or the week before that. And McDaniel says he was coming home from bar prep, meaning he also was studying for the bar exam, and that's when Lauren was apparently, according to him, going out for a run.
Lieutenant Gatlin says that both Lauren and McDaniel were officers of an organization at their law school. In his interview with police, McDaniel says other than what he's just told police about seeing her going out for a run, he can't think of anything else that could help them with their investigation. McDaniel mentions they looked for a note or anything that could point to where Lauren was, but they couldn't find anything. And by they, I'm assuming McDaniel means him and Lauren's friends, but on the show it doesn't specify.
We hear shortly after the police interview, McDaniel went from a neighbor to a person of interest in Lauren's disappearance. Now, police say he was arrested and charged with burglary because he apparently told police that he would go into other people's apartments and had stolen things from them. And officers say he stole things like condoms. When I heard this, I was like, what in the world? Why would you break into someone's house and steal condoms? We then flash to a police interrogation video of McDaniel.
I have to point out, what is your purpose of saying that to police?
Right? Why? I mean,
I didn't kill anybody, but I do occasionally break into people's homes
and steal condoms.
Things. Oh, yeah, condoms.
Yeah, let's just random. I mean, I guess in the end, though, I'm glad he told police that because it got him...
It was important information.
Yes, they started investigating him and considering him a person of interest because of this.
I mean, red flag immediately.
Yeah. Yeah.
The narrator, Jesse Weber, says, in this second police interrogation, McDaniel is acting like a totally different person. And we see the video, and we hear this interrogation. And the detective shows McDaniel a picture of Lauren and says, do you know her? McDaniel says, yes. But the way he says yes is so bizarre.
Completely different than the first interview.
It sounds like he's under hypnosis or sedated or something. He says again the last time he saw Lauren was 2 or 3 weeks prior. Tracy Walder, a former FBI special agent, says that McDaniel was responding to detectives with one-word answers and that his demeanor was dazed or confused. And she says it's a stark difference between his first interview when he was upbeat to this one where he sounds, in her words, she said, catatonic. And I think that's a good word.
I do too. We also see a drastic physical difference in McDaniel. And prior to, we see a picture of him and he's got reddish hair that's short and neatly kept and has a very friendly look and smile on his face. to a photo of McDaniel when he's arrested. And he looks like a completely different person, if you ask me.
I would have never guessed that these two people were the same person.
His short hair is long and unruly, and it's sticking out all over his head in every single direction like a lion mane. He's got a little mustache and a wannabe beard going on. His eyes are red, and it looks like he hasn't slept in days. And he looks, for a better lack of it, confused.
Definitely. This is so creepy watching the interrogation with McDaniel. He has his hands in front of him on the table. His body is facing the same way, straight forward, but his head is turned all the way to the right, facing the detective.
It reminded me of like an exorcist thing.
Yes, that's what I said. It reminds me of a horror movie, like when a doll is facing a certain direction and then it comes alive and the head suddenly turns and looks at you.
Creepy doll.
So creepy. We hear the detective ask McDaniel, "What happened?" And McDaniel responds with a monotone, "I don't know." The detective asks, "Do you even care that no one can find her?" McDaniel says, "Yes." Then the detective says, "What's wrong with you? Earlier you were talking normal and now you're acting like this." And he says he's talking about McDaniel's blank stares and his short answers. And McDaniel says, "I don't understand."
Tina, as I'm watching this, I got to thinking this guy graduated law school. In order to graduate law school, you have to be smart. And he knows the law. He's studying for the bar exam. Do you think he's trying to build like some kind of defense?
I think it's an excellent point that you bring up, and I believe it's quite possible. But clearly he also has issues. He admitted to breaking into people's apartments and stealing condoms. I don't think that's something a normal, stable person does. And he might really just be a weirdo. You know?
Yeah.
Although I will say another detective presses McDaniel about his personality change by saying that people they talk to say that McDaniel is friendly and usually talks a lot. So why isn't he talking now? McDaniel's response is, "I don't know." In that same creepy monotone voice. So I think maybe you're right, Jen, that it is part of an act or part of building his defense. But also at this point, we learn that at first, McDaniel didn't allow police to search his apartment, which is why they decided to focus on him. Because that's a big red flag. It's very weird. If you don't have anything to hide, why not let police search your home?
That's a good point. So in the police interrogation video, McDaniel tells police detective Patterson, "I think someone took her." He asks how, to which McDaniel answers, "When she was running." Detective Patterson turns up the heat a little and tells McDaniel that he's acting like he doesn't know what's going on, to which McDaniel says, "I don't know," in that ever so slowly, very out of it type of voice. And we hear that McDaniel is living a unique life. He tells officers he takes a bath a couple times a week. When he gets sweaty, and that's when we also see 16 empty rolls of toilet paper under his sink.
You counted them?
I sure did. I paused that and I counted. You didn't?
No.
Oh, see, that's why,
I love it. I love it.
This is how our brain works.
Yes.
Yeah, so he had 16 empty rolls of toilet paper. You know the little rolls that are left after you use the toilet paper? Well, apparently McDaniel kept those instead of tossing them in the trash.
That is so strange. Why would you keep those?
I mean, I can honestly say, like, I've kept them at home because my kids will do, like, art project with them, but I mean, I don't think he was doing art projects.
No, there was no indication that he was doing art projects.
Yeah. So we hear that McDaniel stays in the house all day and plays video games all alone. And Lieutenant Steve Gatlin says McDaniel is a recluse and he doesn't hang out with any people. And he likes to be alone. And apparently one of the things he was doing was watching porn online. And porn and breaking into people's apartments to steal condoms. That is a big red flag, Tina.
Yikes. We also see photos from his apartment and it looks pretty dirty.
It does.
There's some trash on the bedroom floor. Stuff is piled up against the walls. And clutter is spilling out from under his bed. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Back to the interrogation. Detectives asked McDaniel if he liked Lauren, and he said, "She's my friend." They ask him if he thought about being intimate with her, and he says no. But Tracy Walder, the former FBI special agent, says that he reportedly asked Lauren out at one point, but Lauren said she just wanted to remain friends. This episode is sponsored by Jake Tatum, top producing mortgage lender with the Wood Group of Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. Let's be honest, the mortgage world has plenty of mystery.
Rates are changing, fine print is hiding in the shadows, and everyone online is claiming they've cracked the secret code.
That's where Jake comes in. He follows the evidence, breaks down the facts, and makes sure your deal doesn't turn into a financial cold case. Whether you're buying, refinancing, pulling cash out, or investing, Jake handles all loan types and builds the right strategy for your situation.
And he also specializes in VA loans, making sure our veterans get every benefit they've earned. No missing details, no bad surprises.
So if your current loan feels a little suspicious, it might be time for a second opinion.
Start the investigation at TatumHomeLoans.com. That's TatumHomeLoans.com. A short time later, we hear from crime lab tech Randy Gonzalez, who says while working the scene around Lauren's apartment, they kept noticing a bad smell coming from some trash bins up against the fence of the apartment building. And when officers opened the lid of one of the green bins, inside they found a black trash bag with a human torso in it. And we hear from investigators that the body had been dismembered, meaning it had been cut up, and the DNA confirmed that it was Lauren who was inside that trash bin. How tragic. How terrible is that?
It's awful. We also see photos of Lauren's apartment, and outside the door, there are white ribbons on the stair railing and a sign in front of the complex that reads, "Love leaves a memory no one can take." We also see a dedication sign at the college that reads, "In memory of Lauren Teresa Giddings, 1984 to 2001. And under that, it says, dedicated by Mercer Law School faculty, staff, and class of 2001.
Police at this point zero in on the person of interest, and we see video of Detective Patterson slouching back in his chair, sitting inches away from McDaniel in the interrogation room. And McDaniel is sitting stick straight up in his chair with his hands calmly resting on the edges of the wood table in that room. And Detective Patterson says, "You know, there was a body found in the trash can next to the apartments." To which McDaniel says, "Yes." And Detective Patterson then asks him who would do something to somebody and throw them in a trash can. To which McDaniel says, "I don't know."
Tracy Walder, the former FBI special agent, says this is likely a community dumpster that was picked up about once or twice a week. And she thinks the person who put Lauren's body there was short on time and figured it would be gone before anyone found a body in there.
At this point, Detective Patterson asked McDaniels when was the last time he visited a specific Kroger grocery store, to which McDaniel says he doesn't remember. And Detective Patterson then asked when was the last time he was at Walmart. While this is going on, we see a video of McDaniel walking down the aisles of a Walmart store pushing a shopping cart, and McDaniel says he doesn't remember.
We also learned that police found several weapons in McDaniel's apartment, including 3 guns, a samurai sword, and several knives. And police also found child pornography on a computer drive.
When Detective Patterson asked McDaniel why he has these weapons and what he needs all these weapons for, McDaniel responds, "To have." To have? Are you kidding me? Why in the world do you need all these guns, ammunition, knives, and a samurai sword? Are you preparing for like the zombie apocalypse? What in the world is going on in this apartment?
Seriously, at what point does one think, you know what I really need for this zombie apocalypse? A samurai sword.
Mm-hmm.
And Jen, I'm not going to mention whose house this was, but you and I visited a house recently with weirdly framed swords in a guest room.
I remember that. Yeah, that was very odd.
And taxidermy.
And taxidermy. Lots and lots of taxidermy.
Taxidermy really creeps me out.
Well, and this was like bizarre taxidermy. So it wasn't like a deer, like are normally mounted, you know. Sure. But like there was a badger.
A badger.
There was a badger and there was like a lynx cat and like it was very, very unique. And lots of animal print everywhere. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, vividly.
You're like, I can't get it out of my mind.
I don't want to go back to that home.
We'll upload some pictures of this taxidermy for you guys to see.
Oh, you have pictures?
Oh, yeah. I have pictures.
Police are also creeped out. They mention to McDaniel that his house smells like he's been cleaning, although by the looks of it, it doesn't look like he's ever cleaned it. Mm-hmm. We see pictures of a couple of bleach bottles near that collection of used toilet paper rolls that Jen mentioned earlier. Lieutenant Gatlin also says that McDaniel had a scratch on his body, on his chest. McDaniel says it's a spider bite, but we see a picture of it, and it looks like a red scratch and not any kind of insect bite.
So when I saw this, it looked to me like it was someone had shoved 2 nails into the skin and then scratched downwards, and the top few layers of skin opened up.
Oof.
That's kind of what it looked like to me. And at this point, Detective Patterson turns up the heat, and I'm sweating watching this video. He gets super close to McDaniel, and they're knocking knees under that little wooden table in the interrogation room.
Jen, that made me shiver when I read that part in your notes. That's one person I would never want to be near. And I'm talking about the creepy McDaniel guy.
Agreed. Patterson has his hand propped up against the side of his face and his elbows resting on the table, and he's looking right into McDaniel's eyes. And he says, "Are you a sorry piece of shit that you want me to tell her that?"
I'm assuming when he says her, that detectives are talking about Lauren's mother, because he goes in again on McDaniel and says they saw him on the news when Lauren first went missing, talking about Lauren being missing, and now he's trying to say he doesn't know anything about it. And former FBI Special Agent Tracy Walters says that there was media from everywhere covering this case. Detective Patterson tells McDaniel in the interrogation that it's sure interesting how he was running his mouth to all those media outlets then, and now all he has to say is, "I don't know."
Detective Patterson, who's sitting inches away from McDaniel, and they're so close to each other that they can probably feel each other's hot breath and smell what the other had for lunch.
That's gross.
And that's when Patterson says, "I want to build the picture, for our listeners,
Done.
how close they are together."
Done, Jen.
And that's when Patter says, "You're just a sorry piece of shit that doesn't give an F, right?" And he uses the full word, not just F. To which McDaniel says, "No," very slowly and calmly. And I swear, the restraint that Detective Patterson has baffles me. I think this is why I could never be a police officer, to be completely honest. I think I would reach across the table and slap the back of McDaniel's head and do what we heard Amanda Knox say the police did to her during the interrogation interview. Remember that, Tina?
Oh, I remember that. They allegedly handle interrogations differently in other countries. And I bet McDaniel learned that in law school.
Back in the Amanda Knox episode we did, she says the Italian police slapped her on the back of the head and would tell her, "Remember, remember," and slap her on the head again. I would literally be doing that if I was Detective Patterson. I would be smacking the back of McDaniel's head because his demeanor is pissing me off. And I'm not even in the room with him.
I wouldn't smack him because he says he only showers twice a week. That head of hair is probably so dirty. I would be in there with a COVID mask.
With a hazmat suit.
Especially having to be that close to him. Tracy Walters says this was no good cop, bad cop style interrogation. She says they were grilling him from the beginning. And we hear detectives ask, "Where's that little girl?" to McDaniel. And again, he responds with, "I don't know." They tell him, "I know you know." Tracy Walters says it was clear to McDaniel that he was their number one suspect.
So at this point, McDaniel is the prime suspect, but police don't have any evidence against him. And just acting strange won't get them an arrest warrant. So they head back to the crime scene.
And they dive deeper into McDaniel and discover something eerie. People tell detectives that McDaniel often talks about wanting to commit the perfect murder and even how he would do it.
That's creepy. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's not an ordinary conversation.
We discuss true crime and crime shows and things all the time, and we have never had this conversation.
No, we have not.
I feel way better about you now that I think about it.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a very big red flag if I was like, Tina, what do you think about this idea? Like, who does that?
No sane person.
Strange. So back in McDaniel's apartment, police say they found a video of Lauren that McDaniel had taken against her knowledge. And he was looking into her windows. He was stalking her. FBI Special Agent Tracy Walder says that McDaniel would jerry-rig a camera on a pole outside of her apartment and record her. And we see some of this video on the show. And it's literally through her blinds into a room of her apartment.
It makes me just never want to open my windows again.
No, keep your blinds shut. We're sitting here recording in Tina's dining room and literally her blinds are closed.
You know what? Let's just board up the whole window.
No one's looking in.
Not any kind of peeper. But that's not all detectives found in McDaniel's apartment. They also found a pair of Lauren's underwear. And they know they were hers because they found her DNA on them. There's also video of what looks like a styrofoam cup in McDaniel's apartment with maybe a plant or some grass inside of the cup. And the cup is labeled Lauren. And the show doesn't talk about that cup specifically, but former FBI Special Agent Tracy Walder says it was clear McDaniel had some sort of obsession with Lauren.
We hear that the crime lab sprayed luminol in Lauren's apartment, particularly in the bathroom. And for those of you who don't know, luminol is very fascinating. It detects the presence of blood, even if it has been cleaned up and is no longer visible to the naked eye. But it will light up once a UV lamp is turned on. And we hear in Lauren's bathroom, it lit up like a Christmas tree, meaning there was blood all over the bathroom. And crime scene techs also say they found marks, like little cuts, in the bathtub. They had literally been cut into the bathtub enamel as if someone had been cut up in the bathtub. And officers say that they believe that Lauren had been dismembered in her very own tub.
Detectives also found a hacksaw in a maintenance shed, and I'm assuming the maintenance shed of the apartment complex. And guess where they found the key to that shed?
I wonder.
It was in McDaniel's apartment. And when tested for DNA, the hacksaw had Lauren's DNA on it. And there's also video surveillance of McDaniel buying that hacksaw from Walmart. And he kept the packaging it came in. And detectives found the packaging in his apartment. So he allegedly bought the hacksaw, took it out of the packaging, put the packaging in a cabinet somewhere in his apartment, used the hacksaw, and then put the hacksaw, still with blood stains on it, in the maintenance shed.
Dumb.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
We see the detective in the interrogation video tell McDaniel they know he killed Lauren. The detective tells McDaniel, "You can sit there with that dumb look on your face. It's over.
We got you now, buddy." Mm-hmm. And at this point, McDaniel is officially charged with Lauren's murder. And we hear he ended up pleading guilty to her murder.
Detectives think he chose to plead guilty because of the video evidence they found in his apartment that showed him secretly recording Lauren.
McDaniel also wrote out a confession letter. We hear that in the letter he confesses to sneaking into her apartment on June 26, 2011. He wrote that he watched Lauren sleep, and when she woke up, he strangled her to death, got her in her bathtub, and then dismembered her later that day. And we hear on the show that McDaniel admitted to cutting off her fingers and flushing them down the toilet because she had scratched him. Remember those scratches on his stomach? Those were in fact from Lauren as she fought for her life. And we hear that McDaniel ended up being sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole in 2041.
I can't understand how anyone who would not only murder someone but dismember them could get a sentence that includes the possibility of parole. That person is clearly psychotic and a danger to society.
The show ends with Detective Patterson saying something very noteworthy, I think. He said, "Somebody always leaves something at a crime scene." And as you know, I tend to go down the rabbit hole on some cases, and this was one of them. According to 13WMAZnews.com, in April 2023, Lauren's family renewed the search for their daughter's body. The article states that a few weeks before Lauren's murder, McDaniel had visited some land his family owns outside of Macon, and they believe that after he killed Lauren, he returned to the land and discarded some of her body parts throughout some woods there. And no word, though, if that search ever happened. There is, however, a Facebook page dedicated to Lauren Teresa Giddings. The page has over 1,500 followers and posts things that her family and friends are doing to keep her memory alive. Back in November of 2025, the 9th annual Lauren Giddings 5K took place on the Mercer campus. Remember, she used to be a runner. She loved to run. Mm-hmm. And there's also the Lauren Giddings Scholarship. According to its website, which I will put in the show notes of this episode, the scholarship provides tuition support to students with strong academic credentials or a demonstrated need, especially those who are the first in their immediate family to attend college, and those who are interested in pursuing careers in the legal profession or special education. Again, I'll put all that in our show notes, and I can honestly say that I find it absolutely amazing how her family and her friends to this day, and truly also the community around Mercer University, they're keeping Lauren's memory alive by doing all these things in her name. You can feel that she was truly an incredible person who had the world at her fingertips.
Mm-hmm. I'm really glad we got to see this show and got to learn a little bit about Lauren. It is a really interesting show to watch because of the interrogation video and it being very heavy on watching the interrogation video throughout. And I think all of the prime crime shows or episodes are like that. So I think we should do more.
I agree. I liked it. We'd love to hear from you what you think about this episode. Did you like it? Did you like us focusing so much on the interrogation stuff? Do you guys prefer other things? Let us know. You can do that either on Instagram, on Facebook. You can send us an email to crimenewsies@gmail.com. We love to hear from our listeners. It's amazing. And also, if you enjoyed today's episode, share it with a friend. Let's get the word out about Lauren. I don't really care about the coward. I don't even want to say his name again because we've said it so many times. But there are so many incredible things that the community around Mercer and her family are doing to remember her. And it's awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
It's so great.
And if you enjoyed this episode, leave us a 5-star review if you haven't done so already on any of your favorite podcast platforms.
We love reading those. Mm-hmm. All right, my friend, you ready to close out?
Let's do.
All right. We will talk to you guys again next week. Bye.